So here we are on the banks of Loch Arkaig, just overlooking the loch where we just canoed up. It's all very beautiful. A bit misty and murky, but the sun's doing its best to poke its way through the clouds, so we're very, very grateful. And we've just stopped because I've come up here to take a look at the forest around here. Loch Arkaig is one of those places where there are remnants of the Caledonian pine forests. In fact, I think this is probably the most southern extent of the remnants of what was obviously a once much more extensive network of Caledonian pines. And there's work going on right now to try and protect what's left, to clear out the Sitka spruce and the other invasives that have found their way and starting to outcompete bits of the ancient forest. But I thought it would be interesting just to show you a little bit of what healthy forest looks like. So yeah, well, I'll just turn the camera around and I'll let you have a look. We have on the shoreline some stands of Caledonian pines with their traditional knobbly curlinesses, a few birches and things as you would expect as well. And there's been deer fencing here to protect from overgrazing. We've also noticed quite a lot of evidence of wild boar or feral pigs scratching, and so I imagine that they probably have got under or around the fence. They'll probably be in there already. But the difference between what we're seeing here and a forestry plantation is like night and day. So here we have a much more open canopy and crown, so lots more light is getting through to the forest floor. There's lots of different trees, so even though we will talk about it as being a Caledonian pine forest, actually that's just one of probably the dominant tree in this stand, but you'll see birches, aspen, rowan, that will traditionally fill in the lower parts of the forest, brackens and mosses and liverworts, and lichens that start to kind of totally take over the floor. It's not a dead moss zone as you would probably see in a plantation. And actually, much more than a stand of trees, what you're seeing is an ecosystem that relies on the entirety to be something alive. And it's alive with birds. You can hear birdsong here, which you very rarely hear in the the Sitka plantations. We've just seen huge flocks of birds flitting in and out. We couldn't work out what they were because we couldn't get close enough. Yeah. I mean, this is obviously a very special place. I mean, yesterday we saw a couple of sea eagles flitting around over the fish farm. Don't get me started on the fish farm. But a lot more of Scotland could, and I would say should, look like this. The other thing you'll notice is some standing dead wood, which is an essential part of the food system and the ecosystem of any healthy forest. So there's lots of it there. You can see different trees that have died and just become habitats for insects, which then become food for birds, and so on and so on. And of course the mushrooms and the fungal life that then breaks everything down to feed the soils. Yeah, I'm outside the fence of it, and I think we're going to walk a bit further and just get into this a little bit further, because it just feels holy. Feels like a sacred place. The proximity to the loch doesn't help. I mean, doesn't hurt. What do you think, Andy?
Project Pinecone.
Andy's taken on the mission.
To plant a Caledonian pine. Or 3.
Yeah.
Which my wife has had some success at.
Good. Just look at this beast. It's very hard to make a commercial argument for places like this. Caledonian pine with all its knots is not the easiest commercial crop to grow. Doesn't grow quickly in the same way that a lot of the Sitkas and things like that do. But it's all the more important then to make an ecological argument for this and a spiritual argument for this. This place is much more than a profit opportunity. It's about survival. And actually not just survival of the ecosystem itself, but survival of the planet. The fewer and fewer places like this that are in existence, the more we are all at risk. The more that the advance of the climate breaking down and the loss of individual species, masking the almost wholesale destruction of large ecosystems, just carries on unabated. The only way is for us as individuals to value what we see, and collectively, through governments, through everything else, we legislate and we require and we find ways of living together and alongside these beautiful places. We preserve what's left. We allow much more to regenerate. Is it too late? To be honest, it might be. It might be too late for all sorts of things. But what better can we do with what we have left than to experience this, to love this, to let it love us back, even if it means fencing some of it, even if it means not profiting from it, or finding different ways to fund it. It's simply beautiful. I'm going to read you a poem which I wrote some time ago when having a different experience in a different woodland, but I think it kind of works with this one. I used the word earlier about sacred, holy, and I really don't apologise for that. That's what these spaces feel like to me. I think increasingly the way I view this, the idea of the sacred, is to think about it in terms of connection. That sacred places are one where we feel that connection more keenly. The connection to each other, the connection to beyond somehow, the connection to what I would consider to be the light behind light and the truth behind truth. And I can't use any other words because I don't have them. So in that context, places like this, which demonstrate that connection so vividly, in the way that everything is interrelated, everything is connected, everything belongs, even where, I suppose, the whole idea of competition. I mean, of course, there's some competition for light for trees, and there's problems with imbalance here even now, with deer grazing pressures, and but fundamentally these places are about cooperation. They're about living in connection. It's about that kind of survival of the fittest. That's not about the most dominant. It's about how things fit best within the environment that they're part of, because they're connected. So yeah, I think that describes the sacred in my kind of understanding better than anything. So this is a poem called Woods. Hungry green shadow, swallow me. Translucent leaf from falling light, dance with me. Folded bark like furrowed brow, listen to me. Cantilevered bough like lifting arm, hold me.